Oi, oi! Welcome to Eddie Hurst's podcast version of The War of the Worlds. I am Eddie Hurst, 50% of the title, maybe. I don't know, if you break down the letters, it might be more. I'm not gonna... I'll be back in a minute. I'm Eddie Hurst, I'm 19% of that title, and this is the podcast where each episode I take apart a chapter of H.G. Wells' classic sci-fi novel, The War of the Worlds. I put in jokes, we do a song or two, maybe some deep dives, and have some very special personal comedy friends. And oh boy, are they special friends I've got on today. I'm really excited to have the Delightful Sausage on. They are a Edinburgh Comedy Award Nominated double act of Chris Cantrill and Amy Gledhill. You might have seen them on Harry Hill's Club Night. You might have seen them on Late Night MASH on Dave Channel. You might have seen them on all sorts of stuff. You might have seen them live. Look, it's not for me to say. I don't know what your experiences are. You can decide that yourself. They talk about how much they enjoy being in a double act by comparing and contrasting that with where we are for the narrator in Chapter 5, The Stillness, which is, of course, host murder of his partner. They're doing better than that. So they're going to be jumping in and out of this chapter with the little asides as we have conversations just based on bits from the book. So I hope you enjoy it. If you'd like to go see them live, why don't you? They're on a national tour at the moment. They're doing their award-nominated show, Ginster's Paradise, in Aberystwyth at the Comedy Festival on the 3rd of October. That's this weekend. And then on Saturday the 16th of October, they're in Manchester. And they're all about, so you can check their website out, which is thedelightfulsausage.com/tour, or follow them at The Delightful Sausage on most of the social media. Is there any news from me? This weekend, Saturday, I'm going to be at Comedy Club for Kids. If you got any kids, if you're a kid. And also, I'll be in Oswestry on the 7th of November doing a longer set, so you could see me at that. Other than that, please do like, subscribe, rate the podcast. It does really help. We're up in the charts in all sorts of countries, which is a really lovely surprise. And also follow me on @EddieHurst on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Also, there's some very exciting War of the Worlds live news coming round the bend, so if you want to find out about that, follow on there, or sign up to my mailing list, which is on eddiehurst.co.uk. Alright, admin, tick. Introduction, tick. Starting the chapter, tick. Chapter 5, The Stillness. And our special guests for this chapter are Amy Gledhill and Chris Cantrill of the Edinburgh Comedy Award nominated double act The Delightful Sausage. Here they are with their hot takes on Chapter 5.
What a shocker. What an absolute shocker this guy's having.
He's having the worst... Well, like, this mate who he hated for, like, all of the book died last chapter, and now he's dead upset about it. He was miserable about this person, and then he was gone, and he was like, no, actually, you know what? I am sad he's gone.
Well, this is the thing. I always... You know when you do the would you rather questions... One of my favourite would you rather questions is, would you rather be alone for the rest of your life, much like this guy probably is now, apart from the Martians and some dogs and birds, would you rather be alone for the rest of your life, or be with one other person that gets picked at random but you can never separate from them? And I think that's such a tough question, because being on your own can be brilliant and can be really sad. But being with someone else, again, it's like, what's the lesser of two evils? And it feels like this guy is living out my would you rather, because he's been with one other person, didn't get along, but now he's like, oh, actually, maybe that was better. You know?
I would be on my own.
Okay,
happy.
so that's speaking as... Sorry, that's second half of double act, Delightful Sausage. Chris Cantrill.
Yeah, as someone who's been in a double act for 4 years, I'll take the solitude. I will take the solitude, yes, please.
It's good to know, isn't it? Good to know where we both stand.
No, but I mean, putting you, my wife, and my child, just a bit of me time. You guys can all hang out together, and forever I shall be on my own from that point on. Sounds good to me.
Do you know what? I believe you. I believe you as well. I do believe that that's what you'd rather do.
I get annoyed when people come around my house. Do you know what I mean? Like someone's coming round. I'm like in a mood about it all afternoon. Like, coming this afternoon. Oh. And I always say, like, am I meant to be there? Yeah, it's your brother.
My first act before I went into the pantry was to fasten the door between the kitchen and the scullery. But the pantry was empty. Every scrap of food had gone. Apparently, the Martian had taken it all on the previous day. At that discovery, I despaired for the first time.
This is not the first time he's despaired. Who's he trying to kid here? We've been with him the whole time.
I took no food, or no drink either, on the 11th or the 12th day.
You can take our way of life. You can take our buildings. You can take my wife. You can take a man I knew for approximately a week. But if you dare take my snacks, you've made it personal.
At first, my mouth and throat were parched, and my strength ebbed sensibly. I sat about in the darkness of the scullery, in a state of despondent wretchedness. Have you ever had a worse day than this, being trapped in a scullery?
Me and Amy were filming a little sketch near my house once, and the day kicked off with me having to do an hour and 40 round trip to the other side of Manchester to pick her up. Because she locked herself in, and it wasn't to pick her up; it was to go to her housemate's work to get his keys to go back to pick her up to take her. That was a pretty bad morning.
Well, I think that's a terrible choice that you've just made there. All you've done is you've thought, question one, how can I have a dig at Amy straight off the bat? Yeah, I've had a worse day. Just hanging out with Chris.
Just hanging out on a normal day. That's worse than this being trapped in a scullery. In a way,
his birthday. I had to see him. We had pizza. The pizza was good, but his company was so bad. I was just thinking, I wish I was in a scullery.
I think if you took a picture of me, and if you took a picture of me and you like put it in the show notes, people will look and be like, you can tell from his eyes that he's trapped in a scullery of the mind. There's something in his eyes. He's gone.
My mind ran on eating. I thought I had become deaf, for the noises of movement I had been accustomed to hear from the pit had ceased absolutely. I did not feel strong enough to crawl noiselessly to the peephole, or I would have gone there.
Martian Peep Show, get your Martian Peep Show, 50p a peep at the Martian People.
I don't feel strong enough.
Alright, seat yourself to be for the Martian People Peep Show.
On the 12th day, my throat was so painful that, taking the chance of alarming the Martians, I attacked the creaking rainwater pump that stood by the sink, and I got a couple of glassfuls of blackened and tainted rainwater. I was greatly refreshed by this, and emboldened by the fact that no inquiring tentacle followed the noise of my pumping.
Now, come on, he doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it like that. He means a water pump. Dirty bugger. No, you behave.
During these days, in a rambling, inconclusive way, I thought much of the curate and of the manner of his death.
So long, Mr. the Curate. We hardly knew you from the start.
On the 13th day, I drank some more water, and dozed and thought disjointedly of eating and of vague, impossible plans of escape. Whenever I dozed, I dreamt of horrible phantasms, of the death of the curate, or of sumptuous dinners. But, asleep or awake, I felt a keen pain that urged me to drink again and again.
We've all been there.
Well, the light that came into the scullery was no longer grey, but red. To my disordered imagination, it seemed the colour of blood.
I mean, I'm no expert, but it sounds like the colour of blood too. Right? Red.
On the 14th day, I went into the kitchen, and I was surprised to find that the fronds of the red weed had grown right across the hole in the wall.
See, it's me, the explaining lad. I'm a private investigator, a PI. I went to Private Investigator University called PU, and let me tell you, it stunk. A frond is what they call them sort of leaves that ferns and them sort of plants have, you know what I mean? The sort of sticky, outy leaves they turn in the temperature and the heat and they turn out again. They're what the ancient plants had, honey. Like a fern that you see in Jurassic Park or something. Anyway, Tuts, I gotta go. I got a hot case with a sweet pub that might tell me where I came from.
Turning the half-light of the place into a crimson-coloured obscurity. It was early on the 15th day that I heard a curious, familiar sequence of sounds in the kitchen. And, listening, I identified it as the snuffing and scratching of a dog.
Going into the kitchen, I saw a dog's nose peering in through a break among the ruddy fronds.
Oh, amazing! We got a dog! Who doesn't love a dog? What a trade-up from the curate. What sort of scrapes this dog's going to get into in this world of an alien invasion? Oh my god, this dog is in danger! HG, why have you done this to us? Haven't we suffered enough?
This greatly surprised me. At the scent of me, he barked shortly.
Woof.
I thought if I could induce him to come into the place quietly, I should be able, perhaps, to kill and eat him.
In the run-up to this, so it's like they've been so hungry for ages, and the curate, who was the guy who passed away, R.I.P., rest in parish, because he was a parishioner. He's died after eating all of the food, basically. And I can't figure out if he's more annoyed about that than he is about him actually dying.
Right. Oh, you would be fucked off with that. You would be.
Yeah.
For ages, he's kept this curate guy alive, and yet the first moment he sees a dog, he thinks, I could eat that. Like, that's his thought process.
Really?
I feel like, I don't know, did you
But
not?
would you not?
I don't know. Would you? This was going to be my question. Like, would you have a go on a dog if like there was no other food?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Not even. You proposed a question. As in, what's this big moral debate? No. Eat the dog. They eat dog in other places, don't
But
they?
Subway's open. No.
Well, I didn't have all the information. And has the subway got dog?
Do you know what? In that circumstance, when it's like survival, I actually think the cuter the animal, almost like the easier. Like I think eating stuff that's scary would be hard. You know, like if I was dogs are lovely. Dogs look nice and they look soft and clean, and I'd happily eat a dog if I had to. But like if it was like a horrible, like a weird looking, like I don't know, like a scorpion or like a real like fucked up like rat, like a big rat, I think that'd be harder. And also like dogs are the right size to like get
good meat
off. Whereas you know when you hear of people like eating like getting little bits of insects and stuff, and you're like, oh, I'd rather eat one medium dog than like 50 cockroaches. Do you know what I mean? Because it's going to be a horrible experience, but at least it's done.
Sure.
But bugs are like, because the food shortage is coming with the population growing, and so I reckon that bug protein is the next big thing to enter the food chain, because it's really sustainable compared to like beef and stuff. So they reckon that you could buy it now in some places, like cricket flour. I know they did.
Yeah.
And they're speaking to. I heard it on another podcast. I can't remember which one, but whoever it is was speaking like to the people that sold sushi to America in the 70s. You know, like no one had touched it conceptually. It was so. But then, like through celebrity endorsements and stuff, it's taken over. So I reckon that's only going to get us eating bugs. So I'd just be there with my tongue darting out like a little toad. Absolutely fatter than I've ever been. And you won't think you can get fat on bugs, but you've just got to treat it like a job. You get up 9 a.m. bugs, 10 a.m. a call to talk about the procurement of more bugs. 11 a.m. bugs.
Then you go to that drain pipe, you crawl over and get the rainwater out.
Yeah,
and then back to the bugs.
Yeah, back to the bugs.
What would be your like? Oh no, I'm not going to eat that. That's like, if you're in this point, would you be like? Because I do think a lot of preciousness over food goes out the window. But is there a bit that you'd be like, nah, I'm not eating that?
Okay.
If something was injured, I couldn't. I don't think I could eat it. I'd eat around it. I'm quite hungry now. It's quite difficult to imagine not eating anything.
But would you want it to have a fighting chance? Is that it?
No, I mean if it was dead already. So say there was an animal.
Okay.
And it had an injury to it.
Yeah.
And it was going off.
A manky leg.
A manky leg. I couldn't eat that.
You're like the opposite of a vulture.
Yeah.
Like, that's your rule. The vultures can have that. You're having something that you have to right on the neck.
Yeah, yeah. I want him to be really healthy before I kill them. Like in the prime of life, everything to live for, really healthy, clean, having a great time, quite happy, ideally, and then just bang, he's gone. I'm eating his flesh.
And in any case, it would be advisable to kill him, lest his actions attracted the attention of the Martians. I crept forward, saying, "Good dog," very softly. But he suddenly withdrew his head and disappeared.
Yeah, absolutely. That dog has shown an amount of awareness that no human character so far in this book has had. Also, right, this guy went on about how much he hated being with the curate all the time. And yeah, let him live with him and eat all his food. And yet the moment he sees a cute, fun dog that would be useful if you're trying to navigate around Martians, he decides to kill it. What is his priorities?
I listened. I was not deaf, but certainly the pit was still. I heard a sound like the flutter of a bird's wings, and a horse croaking. But that was all.
Just going to jump in here and say it's horse croaking as in like Hoarse, like a sore throat croaking rather than the animal horse croaking, because that would be a concerning sound. I mean, why are they imitating frogs? That's the beginning of more questions than we have time to answer right now.
For a long while I lay close to the peephole, but not daring to move aside the red plants that obscured it. Once or twice I heard a faint pitter-patter like the feet of the dog going hither and thither on the sand far below me. And there were more bird-like sounds, but that was all. At length, encouraged by the silence, I looked out, except in the corner, where a multitude of crows hopped and fought over the skeletons of the dead the Martians had consumed. There was not a living thing in the pit. I stared about me, scarcely believing my eyes. All the machinery had gone, save for the big mound of greyish-blue powder in one corner, certain bars of aluminium in another, the blackbirds and the skeletons of the killed. The place was merely an empty circular pit in the sand.
Okay, so we've got weird greyish-blue powder, we've got some bars of aluminium, we've got some blackbirds, and we've got a bunch of skeletons. I mean, we've got all of the materials to create a Halloween scare area, but other than that, I mean, it's completely empty. Other than all of that stuff, completely empty pit.
Slowly, I thrust myself out through the red weed and stood upon the mound of rubble. I could see in any direction save behind me, to the north, and neither Martians nor sight of Martians were to be seen. The pit dropped sheerly from my feet, but a little way along the rubbish afforded a practicable slope to the summit of the ruins. My chance of escape had come. I began to tremble. I hesitated for some time, and then, in a gust of desperate resolution, and with a heart that throbbed violently, I scrambled to the top of the mound in which I had been buried so long. I looked about again. To the northward, too. No Martian was visible.
Have you guys ever seen a Martian?
Go on, Chris.
No.
What you said earlier, you'll be so surprised by my answer to this, and I've been so excited to hear it. And your answer is no.
Yeah.
I was excited about it too.
Yeah, which is surprising because of how I set it up, isn't it?
You know what? You're absolutely right. You've done an absolute diamond there.
But where I've moved, I think I'm in the best possible place. I've moved myself. Where I've moved to is the best possible place to see one. 2 reasons. One, I'm in like you call it a dark skies area pretty much, you know.
Okay,
so like minimal street light. So I haven't got city orange light polluting my view of the aliens. And I've got a secret military base up the road, which I probably shouldn't go on about loads, but it's just hidden away. And I think they test gas lines or something like that. But what are they really doing?
Yeah, man.
Aliens.
That's what they're doing, aliens.
So
That's interesting.
they're doing aliens. Yeah, aliens 1, aliens 2. They're doing all of them, really. They're so busy.
Stanley Kubrick's reshooting the Alien franchise.
In Cumbria.
I think that aliens do exist, definitely.
Yeah, sure.
Statistically, they have to do. But I think the chances of them being like comparable to us are totally minute. So I think up there somewhere, and it's just like a moss with an eye in it.
Right.
You know, or like a finger.
But how is that different to you?
Right. God, you've got me off guard there. I can't think. I am just a big hairy mess with a little knobbin in the middle. So I think. And I'm not, no matter what my wife says, I'm not going to trim it. I'm not going into 21st century.
How about you, Amy? Have you ever seen a
No.
Martian? Would you be open to it?
Yeah, if it was fit. Of course, come aboard. I was speaking to someone yesterday about Hull, and she said, "Are you from East Hull?" And I said, "Yeah," but there's this like one street or a couple of streets in Hull in the middle that's randomly called Witham. And I said, "I'm kind of near there, really." And she said, "Do you know that is the spot that of really, really high alien sightings and abductions?" And I didn't know that. And
What, near Hull?
it's in Hull. It's like a weird industrial estate.
No, that doesn't surprise me, having met a few people
Yeah,
from Hull now. Like,
I know.
they just have that whiff. They have that energy about them, don't they?
Well,
Like,
there's a street off Witham called Holderness Road, and my parents live at one end of it, and I used to get the bus and like watch everyone walking down this street, and honestly, everyone had a carrier bag and a bandage. And now I'm thinking that's some sort of the bandages. These
That's
horrible...
an alien goodie bag. That's
yeah.
what they give you.
like a party bag, bit of cake, colouring book,
And a bandage.
And a bandage.
the bandit.
But I think the bandages are covering up
Thank you
like
for coming.
tentacles and that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So now, God, yeah, really, really changed.
You've really gone
my
in for it.
thinking. Yeah. So I think Hull's probably the epicentre of a lot of alien activity. So that's what I'm saying, and I'm sticking to it, Eddie. Thank you.
All right. When I had last seen this part of Sheen in the daylight, it had been a straggling street of comfortable white and red houses, interspersed with abundant shady trees. Now I stood on a mound of smashed brickwork, clay and gravel, over which spread a multitude of red cactus-shaped plants, knee-high, without a solitary terrestrial growth to dispute their footing. The trees near me were dead and brown, but further a network of red threads scaled the still living stems. The neighbouring houses had all been wrecked, but none had been burnt. Their walls stood, sometimes to the second story, with smashed windows and shattered doors. The red weed grew tumultuously in their roofless rooms. Below me was the great pit, with the crows struggling for its refuse. A number of other birds hopped about among the ruins. Far away I saw a gaunt cat slink crouchingly along a wall. But traces of men there were none.
No word on whether he's going to try and eat the cat yet, but I'm willing to take a bet he's thinking about it.
The day seemed, by contrast with my recent confinement, dazzlingly bright. The sky a glowing blue. A gentle breeze kept the red weed that covered every scrap of unoccupied ground gently swaying. And oh, the sweetness of the air!
Ain't no music in the dance hall. Ain't no bubbles in the water. Ain't no chatting in the cafe. No clattering of plates. Ain't no waves up on the seashore. The tide ain't coming in yet. No rustle in a bag. No rainbows in a flag. No rocking of the boat. No, nothing interrupting. Nothing interrupting. Nothing interrupting. An amount of still. What would you call that? I don't know. If a tree falls in a wood, no one can hear. Does it make a little noise, or is that pause? Oh.
The Stillness.
I'm trying to think in my head whether seeing an alien would be more or less scary than seeing a ghost.
With aliens, I feel like it's like you said, Chris. It's quite a logical, like, well, statistically, it'd be mad if there's nothing else with, like, life in the entire world or, like, the entire universe. But with ghosts, it's sort of like, where you, I don't know, like, there's not much scientific evidence or there's not much logic to being like, well, statistically, there must be orbs of spirits that nobody has ever properly seen existing in the same areas as, you know. But some people are like proper into ghosts, and and it's always, I don't know, I don't know if they're there or not, but it's always, I think, because you want to believe in an afterlife, and so I'm always surprised at some people who go proper in for ghosts.
Yeah.
And it is because a lot of the time they had a Christian upbringing, and so they have to believe in an afterlife. And if you believe in an afterlife, well, obviously you're going to believe in a ghost because there's something after this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's tricky. It's a tricky question to answer.
It's like the ghost. It's like something that exists now, changing state into a different, unknowable thing. Whereas an alien is just like almost like just a different species, isn't it? Like dogs exist. So why couldn't a big lizard with a hand on its head?
Thanks for having
Case
us.
closed. Eddie, please close this case.
Chris, the case is closed.
So there you have it. It was a bit of a shorter chapter than normal. I always find it funny how, like, he did this monthly, like, he did each chapter that he wrote monthly, but then they vary in size so much. It's like his editor didn't say, could you do, like, maybe 5 pages each time or something? Nah, sometimes you get, like, 1 page, 2 pages, other times it's like 14 pages. He's all over the show. But I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did, and thank you very much to Chris Cantrill and Amy Gledhill of The Delightful Sausage for joining us. Please do go check out their tour. Go onto their website, delightfulsausage.com/tour for information. They've got a show at 3rd of October, which is this Sunday in Aberystwyth as part of the comedy festival, and then on the 16th of October they're doing their show in Manchester as well, which I'm going to try and get down to, so you might see me lurking in the corner. Thank you. Please do like, rate, subscribe, and follow me if you want on @EddieHurst, which is EDYHURST on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Also, feel free to sign up to my mailing list on eddiehurst.co.uk, because there is some news coming about War of the Worlds live shows.
What? How are you going to do it? It can't be done!
Please, who are you? Me? Behave. It's going to be great. Anyway, guys, I'll see you for Chapter 6. Anyway, guys, hope you have a nice week, and I'll see you for Chapter 6, which is The Work of 15 Days. See you in a bit.